All right, welcome back. If you just joined us, you've missed quite a bit, but we'll compensate you with the rest of the program. Let's quickly bring you into all that we're doing on the show right here. We want you to be a part of what we're doing. We want you to talk to us this morning on all the issues that we've raised on the program. We've talked football, we've talked about what's going on in Spain, and we will also be talking about the Super Eagles much later on the show. All right, send us a mail, sports this morning at channelstv.com. Get across to us on Facebook, Channels from Sports, and on Twitter at channels_sports. That's how you can get your voice heard across the globe. You can speak up and be heard on the show this morning. All right, let's move on quickly. We're now joined from our Abuja studios. We're joined by respected sports administrator Gara Gombe. We're still talking about Nigeria in sports, 57 years, the journey so far. Thank you for joining us, Gara. All right, before we take a look at the journey so far, let me quickly ask you this before we look at how well we've done. How do we rate or how do we measure growth in sport before we begin to take out our scorecard? First, how do we measure growth in sports? All right. I don't know if you can hear me, but okay.
Well, even though I cannot hear you very well, but the 57 years of Nigeria in sports is a cocktail of the bad, the good, and the ugly. And unfortunately for us, in the last 57 years, we have about 38 ministers of sports. And that really projects us as not being consistent in terms of those who are leading our sports. That is one. Secondly, we also have policy somersault. Every regime that comes with its own policy. Today we have Minister of Sports. Tomorrow we scrap it. We bring National Sports Commission. Next tomorrow we scrap National Sports Commission and bring back Ministry of Sports. And also, another factor which I would like to point out in the last 57 years in our sports is that of corruption. And apart from also corruption, we also do have the issue of recognizing Nigerians who are either athletes or administrators who had put so much for this country in the last 57 years to make sure our sports they move forward. Unfortunately, the situation is not the case now. We have forgotten them so soon, and that is really not good for our transition to greatness. Also, I would like to point out here that we have had several attempts to change sports in Nigeria, with every single attempt less impressive than the one preceding it. We have also had several reports about various committees on how to reform sports in Nigeria.
Okay.
From Alhaji Shehu Shagari's tenure up to President Jonathan's tenure, and even now, President Buhari's tenure, there was a committee set up on the so-called sports architecture.
Okay.
All these recommendations were retired to the dustbin of history.
Okay.
After every attempt, we make all the noise, gather themselves, take coffee and tea, and forget about it.
All right.
All these reports are there, which could have
that we could make use of.
Taking our sports to the next level to join the global community that have achieved so much in sports.
Right.
And I can tell you, the best report.
Okay, let me quickly ask you this.
The best?
Yes, if you can hear me, let me just quickly ask you this. You've told us how it has all been, and I agree with you on all of the things that you've said. But what are the things that we have done well in the last 57 years? What are the things that readily comes to mind that you can say, in spite of all that you've said, there are things that we seem to have done well?
Yes, there are things that we have done well, but we don't know how to manage success. As at the time we do well, instead of us to manage that success, we tend to forget about it and start venturing into things that cannot take us anywhere. A country, for instance, let's take football. A country, for instance, that won the maiden edition of the FIFA World Cup in 1985, Under-17 World Cup. In 2017, we cannot reach even the finals of a World Cup. So something is wrong somewhere. It is either there are some things that we are not doing right, or really we are not managing our success very well. That is number one. Number two, if you look at our best performance in the Olympics was in Atlanta 96. That was where we got our first gold medal, and our first gold medal also in football, in fact, for Africa. How did we achieve that success? Immediately after Barcelona 92, under the National Sports Commission led by Chief Alex Akinyele, immediately after Barcelona, he sees in his wisdom to set up a technical committee to start preparing for Atlanta. Immediately we came back, I remember. And that was really what produced the Chioma Ajinwos, the teams or the successes that we have succeeded to achieve in Barcelona 92, in Atlanta 96 Olympics. After Atlanta 96 Olympics, what happened? Remember also, in the last 57 years, those days we have corporate Nigeria that have been sponsoring various competitions in this country. Football, table tennis, basketball, lawn tennis, name it. But today, where are they? Mobile, pull out. Coca-Cola from athletics. Coca-Cola pull out from table tennis. And so many other corporate Nigeria. Why did they pull out? Because of the corruption in the system. We have so much corruption in the system. So corporate Nigeria, I know that they have a principle which has to do with transparency and accountability. Those managing our sports do not have transparency and accountability in their dictionary. Now, if you look at Coca-Cola those days, the competitions they have been sponsoring in table tennis, this is where we produce the likes of Funke Oshinake, Bose Kapo, Atanda Musa, Yomi Bankole, and the rest of them from table tennis. So, in mobile tracks and field, I can also give you certain examples where we produce some of our best printers. But today, we kept on blaming the corporate Nigeria not putting so much in our sports. I don't blame corporate Nigeria because we are not transparent. We don't tell them how we spend the money they give us. Any sponsor would like to give you more if you are transparent. Which sports administrator, which sports institution organization in Nigeria today will have the guts to publish his accounts? What he collects from international bodies, what he collects from local sponsors, what he collects from the government, so that for everyone to see. And that is really one of the main reasons why corporate Nigeria is not really coming along to support sports in this country.